I just caught my M29 fiancé F31 in bed with my father M54. This is by far the most surreal thing that has ever happened to me. This happened about 2 days ago and I still feel like I'm having a nightmare. I am sorry in advance for the length. I haven't spoken to anyone about this and I just needed an outlet. So my fiancé and I have been together for 6 years and I proposed to her in January of last year. We were supposed to get married in June but then the pandemic hit. Although I didn't mind having a very small intimate wedding, she insisted that we should wait because she wanted to have the wedding of her dreams. We planned on getting married later this year, but I guess those plans are at an end. About 4 months ago, she started acting differently. She became very distant, wasn't as affectionate as she usually is, and she began to act really sketchy, coming home late at night, being possessive of her phone, and lying about her whereabouts. I didn't really suspect her of cheating but instead attributed this to maybe cold feet. I asked her if she was having second thoughts about marrying me and she assured me that she was just stressed out with work. This made sense to me because she had just gotten a promotion around this time. Around the same time, she also got really close to my dad. Of course, I didn't think anything at all about this. Who on earth would be concerned about his dad and fiancé developing a close relationship? My dad and mom are divorced due to infidelity on his part. My father is very wealthy and is a bit of a narcissist. This became more obvious to me now than before. Around Christmas, my wife and I were supposed to go spend the holidays with my mother's side of the family, as well as my brother and sister. She made up some excuse about how she wanted to spend that time with some of her family and that she needed to get some work done anyway. She insisted that I should just go on my own and that we would spend New Year's together. I hadn't seen my mom in a while, and so I agreed. Coincidentally, my father was going out of town around the same time. I just made this connection as I was reflecting, and realized that they probably spent that time together. My siblings and I usually spent Christmas with one parent and New Year with the other. We alternated between the two every year. As you can probably guess from the fact that we never spent such holidays together, my mom and dad can't stand the very sight of the other. Neither side of the family get along and it has been very hard to find a balance and not take sides. As I mentioned, I never really suspected her of cheating on me until one day she was receiving calls from a number saved under her best friend's name. It was saved as Karen, too, fake name. This made absolutely no sense to me because the time she was receiving these calls was when we went to dinner with Karen and her husband. I could see Karen in front of me, and she wasn't on her phone. When I looked at the phone and then at my wife, she made the most I ducked up look I've ever seen. I didn't say anything while we were there, but I asked her about it once we were on our way home. Her excuse was that it was another Karen from work. I asked to see her phone and she refused. She said I'd be invading her privacy, and that she didn't appreciate getting accused of something so sinister. I brought up how she'd been acting sketchy of late and that her refusing to show me her phone was only pointing to her doing something shady. She swore up and down that she wasn't and that the conversations and the text messages were personal. After a lot of back and forth, I stupidly let it go. Fast forward to now and her behavior didn't change much. It only got progressively worse with her always denying anything was going on. On Monday I was scheduled to go on a business trip for a week. Fortunately, in this case, my flight got cancelled due to snowstorms, and my trip got postponed. When I returned home, I came back only to find my dad's car parked outside. It's my dad. He's probably here visiting. Right. When I go inside I can't see him nor fiancé anywhere. I shout out asking where they are and I can hear scrambling upstairs in my bedroom. When I head towards my bedroom my fiancé is frantic and insisting I wait for her downstairs. I ask her where my father is and she says she doesn't know, but his car is parked outside. He must be here. I get to the bedroom door and it's locked. I ask her to open it, and she says she's getting dressed. This entire time, the thought of them together didn't even cross my mind. I ask her to open the door and again, she says I should wait downstairs. Now I could hear multiple footsteps from inside. And that's when it actually occurred to me what might be happening. In a moment of panic, I kicked the door down, and I wish I never saw what I did. My dad was in my bedroom struggling to put his pants on with my fiancée topless, wearing only her underwear. I was completely shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My fiancé became hysterical and started screaming something along the lines of "It's not what it looks like." I can explain. The cliche bullshit. The entire time I was staring at my father watching him get dressed. At one moment I thought to myself if I should just beat the crap out of him right then and there. But I couldn't. I didn't have the strength to. I felt so defeated. I just went back into my car with the suitcase I planned on taking on my business trip and left. My fiancé tried to stop me and even tried to get into my car as I was driving away. I checked into a hotel and have been here since. I've been bombarded with calls and texts from both of them, as well as other family and friends. I haven't spoken to anyone nor have I replied to any of their calls. This shit really hurts. I don't know what I am supposed to do. Why would they do this to me? Why would he pick my fiancé of all people? I've spent the past 2 days crying and drinking. and I don't even have the slightest clue on what I am supposed to do. Has anyone gone through something similar? And if so, how on earth did you find the strength to move forward? I could go on and on, but it would just turn into a rant. How am I supposed to cope with this kind of betrayal? I need advice. Anything. Too long didn't read Fiancé cheated on me with my dad. How do I move on? Yeah, what a clusterduck of a situation. This really sucks. I cannot tell you what to do in this time, but I can give you some general tips which will probably help you in the long run. 1. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Even weed. It is a bottomless pit you can fall into, and it will be very hard to climb out of. It also ducks up your focus, which you will need going forward. 2. Talk to someone about this. You need to process this information and grief. Shame is your enemy in this and you cannot let it win. Talk to a friend, family or a therapist about your thoughts. Do not, and I repeat, do not bottle this up. It is corrosive to the soul. 3. Hit the gym. Eat right and sleep when you can. It is impossible to feel good in this situation, but you will feel so much worse if you do not take care of your meat vehicle. 4. Hate them. For a while. Hate in this context is energy. Use it to propel you forward while you are taking care of administrative necessities such as separating for your girl. 5. Leave her. Do not take her back. There is no coming back from this shit. No matter how bad she feels for her mistake. I feel for you, man. You can get out on the other side of this, but it is going to suck for a while. It is just in the nature of the experience, but it will fade over time as long as you keep your self-respect and dignity intact. They are both selfish narcissistic a-holes and I wish you could just never talk to them again. Unfortunately you probably will have to in order to sort out living arrangements and such. After that I would completely cut contact with both. Make sure to talk to your siblings so they know what's going on. They might also want to cut contact with your dad over this. Lastly, I want to say that you will get through this with time. Good luck. Second story. Me 25 MF found out 5 nights ago that my girlfriend 25 female of 6 years cheated on me with a mutual friend 25 male and now waiting for my taxi to take me to the airport for my new life. How do I deal with the closure? Infidelity. Sorry, this one is a long one. I work in politics, in the dark smoky room side. And for the past 6 months my GF haven't seen much of each other because of a recent promotion that's been the opportunity of a lifetime. Let's call her H. H and I have been together since university and to be blunt, she was the love of my life. Sweet, dedicated, fiercely loyal and my best friend. Together we've done some pretty amazing things and when I look back on my life highlights, our travels and years together will definitely be on there. H I have been finding the time away from each other tough. I work from about 6:30 a.m. 11 p.m. Tend to be on the phone at weekends. However, she's been really supportive and has continued to tell me to focus on the job for now. We both plan to move to NYC together once I completed this job. I know now that it's been a lot harder for H than she let on. And for me, I've just desperately missed my partner. However, long ago now I came down into the bathroom to say good morning to H, and noticed a big love bite on her neck, which she'd been hiding under big jumpers. I confronted her about this as I hadn't been able to touch her in weeks after contracting scabies in Africa. I knew it wasn't me. This all happened so fast I barely remember anything that was said. I just remember the feeling that my stomach was suddenly lined with lead. She told me it was an allergic reaction of all things, but after pressing it became clear she was hiding something. And then it quickly became clear that we both knew what had happened. Turns out she'd cheated with a mutual friend she secretly met up with. Says she went to him for advice about our relationship and ended up seeking affection from him. She told me, obviously begged for another chance, asked me to marry her, and then eventually left in a taxi to her friend's house with her bags that I packed for her. The house is all mine. We're not married. Nothing legal to worry about here. After she left I calmly got everything ready for work, made my packed lunch, ironed my shirt and then just lost it and sat down with some whiskey and some smokes and wallowed in self-pity for the night. This has been my nightly routine for the last week. I've had a history of depression, so whilst this has hit me unbelievably hard, the numbness and feelings of emptiness ultimately makes it easier to get things done. I am not a crying wreck. I am just kinda done. Over the next few days I kept silent. Didn't respond to any of the 90 missed calls. Eventually I rung her and told her we're over. I forgive her and dropped all of her things to my friend's house while H was out at work. Thing is, I don't hate her for this. I understand how she was feeling. And I know my job got in the way of what was a very close and spontaneous relationship. We became different people. I can forgive her, but we have to be over. I'll never trust her again and I can't have her in my life anymore. Especially not when it's not even a good idea for me to have a partner while my life's like this. Whilst I forgive her, it doesn't mean I can ever love her like I did. The next few days kind of led to a few impulse decisions. I went straight to my boss, who is also one of my best friends, who, bless him, offered to give up all his annual leave so I could sort myself out. When I told him being in that house would just bring back bad memories, he made me an offer, a year-long position working on an enormous project for an international government, and I took it. This involves a completely new role, a new life in a new country, and a completely different kind of office and project. So I put my house up for rent, which my brother will look after for me, and decided to just buy a ticket and head to my new home early before the position starts. It also makes visa stuff easier. I've not told H because I've tried to maintain NC and she has all her things. The taxi is coming in about 2 hours. Here are my questions. Should I tell H? Is it classless to let her find out from a friend? How do I get closure? What process can I use when I am so removed from everything? How do I stop this being a quick fix? Is there a risk I get home after a year and it all just instantly comes back? I am really fearful that all I am doing is running away from my problem, and I am worried moving away will mean I never engage with the fundamental betrayal. Any Redditors have tips for moving to a new country? How do you meet people? Have I been too rash? Importantly, anyone got any tips on getting over cheating? This is the second time I've been cheated on now, and whilst I am quite happy to have a year of just being single, I am worried about what happens after that. Is there even a point to trying to stay faithful to anyone? Thanks in advance. And thanks for all the support over the years, which has helped me manage the last week of my life. Too long didn't read, got cheated on. Left the country. Bit worried I've been a bit rash. Update. Firstly, thank you so much for all your support and kind words. It's made it a lot easier to keep doing the right thing, and I've taken on board so many of your comments. Really meant a lot, and I felt it more than I've felt much in the past week or so. So some of you may remember that I had some questions, and that I was on my way to flying out to start a new life, which I never mentioned is in Africa. Stuff took some pretty funny turns since then, and I thought I'd update you. So I am still not in Africa. I missed my flight after my cab was involved in a very minor collision. No one was hurt, but you can't get another cab quickly on the motorway. Luckily, I've got total insurance up to my eyeballs. I phoned my boss to tell him and was about to book flights for the weekend when my boss asked me to stay a few more days as he'd had an absolute tidal wave hit his desk. I'd do anything for this guy, so I obviously agreed. And ended up deciding to stick around for Christmas to say goodbye to my family and give them a bit of time before I left for a year. My boss's secretary spent most of the week finding me a new flat, booking me immunizations, and generally sorting out my life to say thank you, which was really nice. So I haven't told her I am leaving, and no contact has been maintained. A good friend said she managed to have a conversation with H and made clear that I am serious about needing significant period of time of silence between us. H is apparently handling it really badly, sobbing, having to have her friends look after her phone. Which I thought would make me happy, but it really doesn't. There is one person I told, her father. Now anyone else on here I would strongly advise against breaking NC for X's family members, but you have to understand that I cannot not answer the phone to this man. I have so much respect for him, and we spent a huge amount of time alone drinking his amazing whiskey collection and talking about things. He's given me a lot of vital support and counsel in my life, and I'd be much worse off without him. He wanted to know if I could ever forgive his daughter. I explained that there's no point continuing now, the trust is fundamentally destroyed, and he apologized and accepted that. He actually told me I should think about getting myself away for some alone time and begged me to meet up with him in the city I work in. At this point I told him where I am going and asked him not to tell H until I am gone. He promised he would honor my wishes, and that was enough for me. This man is old school, and I know his word means a lot to him. I also left some messages to pass on to family members clandestinely once I am gone, because the whole family have been amazing to me. My time since has been much smoother than it could have been. I've hit the gym a lot, rule 1, and have spent at least 2 hours every night except Christmas sparring with my brother. I've caught up with old friends before I leave and spent a lot of time with my family. We managed to complete the business that landed on my boss's desk, and he took me for an incredible goodbye meal with himself and his wife, which was nice. It was some unlimited meat joint, which makes me wonder why all things aren't unlimited meat. My own mood has been promising. For a few days there was a concerning intensity of numbness, but keeping myself busy really helped me feel normal again. Can't stress enough to everyone out there how important it is to get up and do stuff rather than wallowing. Changes your whole mindset and makes everything so much easier. In terms of other plans, I've already signed up to a Muay Thai gym out there and managed to find an old training partner who's working in the same city, so have organized a meet. My plan is to just treat this a bit like a year out at university. Work hard, yeah, but I am going to get as much out of the experience as I can. I plan to blow all the money I was saving for H's birthday holiday. Thank you to everyone who assured me that there are some people you can trust out there, but I think at least for a while I am going to have to be single. I am thinking of going to get some help because I know that functionally I'll be single for at least 1 year, and I don't want distrust to become my default setting. Went to see my old psych about my depression flaring up, who thought I was doing really well considering the circumstances, so yay. I am looking forward to my new life so much, and I feel much better about my ability to use it as a new start rather than just running away and hiding my feelings. I might write H a letter one day to get some answers to some questions, but I am still undecided and probably wouldn't go ahead with it until I am sure I am on the way to recovery. To everyone out there, follow the advice on here. Keep yourself busy and stick with NC. The whole next year is about me and I am excited about what I can produce. Thank you everyone. And good luck. Too long didn't read, not on the flight yet but in a much better place. Update 2. I am back in the UK for a few weeks visiting some old friends and family and my old boss, and I thought I'd write an update. As some of you might have read, 4 months ago I broke up with my ex after she cheated on me. This spurred me to accept a job offer in Africa. And the rest is history. Firstly, Africa is the most incredible continent in the world. I am based in Tanzania, but I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of traveling. The new job is incredible. Getting some crazy experience. Got my own driver and secretary. Making some really big differences here, and I think accepting this job was the best decision of my life. I'll be sad to leave at the end of the year. In terms of how I am dealing with the breakup, this has been the perfect way to deal with it. It's hard to wallow for too long when you're riding around dirt roads and are sat with new friends sharing beer and looking at the most stunning natural beauty you'll find. One of the perks of the job is that we work closely with NGOs who send out lots of aid workers, volunteers around my age who are all still looking to have a good time. I am still single and it's been great to recapture my youth and go out and be free and make some new life experiences. On another thread, someone said that at the start of every good story adventure requires something like what happened to me to occur, to expose myself and make myself a bit braver than I would have been. I love that. H has really just been the first half a paragraph in a story that's been so enjoyable and invigorating. Here's the breakup adult videos that I had to update you all on. This is proof that no matter how bad it is now, things can change. And once you heal, the dynamics of power can fundamentally shift in an instant. I've maintained NC with H. I've been updated by some friends that after she found out I left, she asked all my friends if they know my African number. She's blocked from all email, social media, my phone, and has been living with her parents for months now, having decided to spend some time on her own. Bear in mind I've not seen her since this all kicked off, or spoken to her. When I landed in London a few days ago, guess who is waiting for me in arrivals apart from my mum, of course? H. H comes from nowhere and kind of looks at me and starts crying. I was kind of speechless, to be honest. H had seen the flight details I'd posted on the wall of a mutual friend and taken a 4-hour train down to London to ask me to take her back. Bear in mind this entire time my mum is hovering in the background. I told H nothing had changed, thanked her for coming. I was genuinely touched by whatever this display was and gave her some money to get a cab home, partly because she was a wreck, partly to make myself feel superior. At this point it really struck me how much everything had changed. I definitely still have some feelings for H, but they're couched much more reflectively. I felt extreme pity for her at that moment, and I don't think I've ever felt so sure that being on my own is what's best for me. Thanks for all the support, our relationships. Some of the advice I received on here has made a huge difference to how I've spent the last 4 months. For those of you just starting your journey, it gets better. Maintain no contact. Look after yourself. Go to the gym and make time to meet new people. I recommend taking yourself out on your own. It helps you figure out who you are and what you lost. Thanks all. Too long didn't read, it gets a hell of a lot better. Edit overwhelmed with the response and gold. Although I am not sure what the gold does. Everyone who is reading this who is a bit further behind in their journey, don't worry. You got this. Not everyone has the chance to leave the country, but you all have the chance to make more time for yourself. I just want you to know that this is the first time that I have ever felt the need to comment on a thread in our relationships. I want you to also know that I found your story truly inspiring. As you handle yourself with amazing maturity, self-awareness, and respect. Your bravery in trying a new experience is just fantastic. Completely unrelated. And I apologize in advance if this is too forward. However, if you don't mind, I wanted to know what industry you work in. I will be on the job hunt soon in the States, though, and I am impressed by the significance that your work seems to do, and its flexibility allowing you to just pick up and go to Africa. Just wondering. Once again though, I can't stress how impressed I am with your story. Wow. You took a horrible experience and bounced back to make it a grand adventure. When reading your story, I was totally impressed with your fortitude during the whole thing. I doubt everyone could have handled it as well as you. Hope Africa stays as exciting for you, and give us an update when you get home again. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.